والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. الزكاة. And we have, alhamdulillah, finished talking about the number of cattle when the zakah is due. We are at the moment, at the end of what is not to be taken from the zakah. And we should have our reciter here. I'd like you to recite. Recite from the reciter. First of all, before we start.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Today is
Tonight. 11th.
Tonight is the 11th of Rabi' al-Awwal, and we're starting from what is not to be taken as zakah.
The year is 1440, and the importance of this, we say in the date, is tomorrow is the night of the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal, where lots of people celebrate. You're going to have maybe a traffic jam here. God knows what's going to happen. So that's why it's very important to say this is the night which is preceding the 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal, where that festival, which has no base and foundation in Sharia, takes place. And we're going to be talking about, inshallah, at the end, when we finish our talk. So, we are at the moment in the title, which is not to be taken from the zakah. Now,
what is not to be taken as zakah? Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, when the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sent Mu'adh to Yemen, he told him, avoid taking the best of their wealth. Anas narrated that Abu Bakr wrote to him concerning the obligatory zakat that Allah obligated upon His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he stated, neither an old nor a blemished animal nor a male goat may be taken as zakat unless the zakat collector accepts it.
Right. What is not to be taken from the zakah is either which is not really good or is too much good. The person has to take the average. So if I've got 40 sheep, how many sheep should I pay as zakah if I've got 40 sheep, Ya Hassan? One sheep. And how many sheep you should have, minimum, in order to get two? To give to a zakah. No. 120. 120. Right. So this person has got 40 sheep. All of them average size, and this one is mashallah, big one and brand. So the person who's collecting zakah is not allowed to take that particular sheep because it's mashallah the best as a zakah. You take it from the average. So when the Prophet of Allah sent Mu'adh radiallahu anhu to Yemen, and he said to him that you're going to come to the people of the book, let me the first one that you're going to call them to is La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. If they have to obey you for that, then tell them there are 5 daily prayers. And then after that, if you have to obey you, then tell them that there is a zakah to be taken from their own rich to be returned to their own poor people. That means we're not taking it as taxation to ourselves. So it will be in Yemen, and they're going to be transferred to Medina. And then he said to him, and be aware of taking the best of their money. Is that what you just said? Be aware of taking the best of their money. Also, Anas narrates for us, Abu Bakr, he had written to him, that is, the faridah of the sadaqah, of the zakah which Allah had commanded His Messenger to do it. He said, the person should not give in the sadaqah something which is, he's got very good sheep and then one is blind, he gives the blind one. So we have the person who's collecting not to collect the best, and the one who will want to offer not to offer the what? The worst, to offer the average. So you should not really give the old one, very old one, or the blind one. Wallahu ta'ala. Now that's what it says, so you have to be in both sides. Now we come to the following title, حكم الخلطة. Now,
Co-owned wealth.
can you switch off that thing? It's too much. Now,
If two or more people share in some wealth upon which zakah is due, and it is not possible to distinguish one's wealth from another, then they are to pay one zakah payment, if zakah is obligatory upon them. Anas narrated that Abu Bakr wrote to him the obligatory zakah that Allah obliged upon His Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, saying, neither should the property of different people be collected so as to make one whole, nor should the whole property be divided for fear of giving more zakah. If property is possessed by two partners, they should pay zakah collectively, and they will be considered as having paid their zakah equally.
right. What does this mean? You know, if you ask the shepherds, so many shepherds, they get partnership with each other. Shepherd A, shepherd B, and then their sheep is together. And when the sheep is together, that we cannot really separate between them. So those two, they always graze together. So this, let's say that this is for three partners. Three partners. Okay? Each partner is 40 sheep. Each partner is 40 sheep. So 40 sheep now, if they are together, there are 120. And they're separate, 40, 40, 40. Now they are together. Okay? So the person who's going to collect the zakah, he has to collect the zakah as they are what? Together. Because they are wise together, because they graze in one graze together, they sleep in one stable, they have been spent on it the same money, so they're together. So how many sheep the 120 should pay?
One.
Because we said from one, so two, correct. From 1 to 40 is one. From 40 to 120 is another one. So two, correct. So 1 to 120, 2. So this guy, he collects the zakah, he says, no. We're going to make, how much have you got? 40. How much you got? 40. 40, then each one pays what? One sheep. So now he had made on them. Because he's taken how many? And he's supposed to take what? 2. Because they're together. So that is not supposed to be separating to something which is already together. That's the hadith says. So it's not to separate for the sake of that the person collects the zakah, he collect more. I want to separate to collect what? More. Because each one is 40, so you sadaqah sheep, and you sadaqah sheep, and you zakah sheep. So sheep, 3 sheep. Now, they're together, they will be paying 2 sheep. Now, if they pay 2 sheep, and they took it from them, and they know that this sheep belongs to partner A, and his sheep partner B, okay? Partner C doesn't mean that he's been exempted. Now, partner C, he would return to them with how much is these 2 sheep, for example, the such and such. They divide it between 3. Do you understand that? So that the C would be paying. So let's say it's these 40, 40, 40, but they're together all the time. Each one, he knows his sheep. So the person who took the sadaqah, the one who collects, he took from 2 sheep, he doesn't know, but it was from owner A and partner B. Okay? So partner C doesn't mean that he's exempted. No, he has to share the third with them. So let's say that how much are the 2 sheep? They are £300, the 2 sheep. Okay? So each one has to pay what? £100. So he will pay now £100, Mr. C, 50 to A, and 50 to what? To B, you understand me? Because the 2 of them, 300. So that means A and B paid 150, 150. So Mr. C will pay 100, 50 to that one, so he'll be paying 100, 50 to that one will be paying 100, and he'll be paying 100. Do you understand that? The same thing, they should not be combined in order to run away. So if they were not together, partner A, partner B, partner C, they were not partners. So A was grazing somewhere, B was grazing somewhere, and C, they're close to each other, different grazing, and they are not together. When the person collects the zakah, they A and B and C, let's put them together. In order to get what? Less sheep to be paid. Because in order to separate, we're going to be paying what? 3, but together pay 2. And one of them will just pay 50 and that's it. So it's not allowed. So they're separate to be there separate, and they're together to be there together, not for the owner taking more sheep or running away with less sheep. Okay? Same thing as well, so we said now to combine and to separate. So let's say now, 2 partners. Together, they've got 80 sheep. Together, no, they've got, listen to you, they've got 70 sheep. Together, they got 7. They are always together. So this person wants to collect the zakah. How much he should pay? 1. But when he comes, he said to him, oh, how many sheep you got? You got what? 35, and I got 35. So we'll say they are separate. How many sheep you should be paying if they are separate? None. None. So it's not allowed to get away with it by saying it's separate and they are together. So not to separate and not to together for the sake of running away from the sadaqah or paying more into the sadaqah. Is that understood? Right. Okay. Now we come to the rikaz.
Zakah on buried treasures.
In the what?
On buried treasures.
Okay, buried treasures, yes.
Buried treasures are those buried in pre-Islamic times which are discovered without expending much wealth or effort. One must pay zakah immediately upon them without the prerequisite of it being in one's possession for a year or it reaching the level of the nisab. This point is based on the generality of the Prophet ﷺ statement, 1/5 is to be paid as zakah upon found buried treasures.
Okay. Jahiliyyah, before Islam, is to bury treasure. And this treasure is not just gold and silver, any property. Any property is called treasure, being buried. So the person, he takes it out without any effort. It's there, and he takes it out. Just takes a bit, and then he will take it out. This, straight away, you have to pay how much? 1/5, regardless how much it is. Whether it's a lot, or a little, 1/5. So the rikaz is something which is being buried from the days of the pre-Islamic days. And when you take it out, it doesn't require me to go and hire machines and digging excavators and bulldozers and all of that. No, it's just really easy to get it out. It's not something that I need to dig, You know that some people search for gold, and they go and use dynamite and, and for example, make explosions in some of the mountains to get it. That's not the one we're talking about. Because he's spending a lot of money to get that gold. Talking about something being buried from the time of the Jahiliyyah. Straight away, 1/5 goes to, and the state which the land belongs to, that 1/5, the state will define where it should be given to, as we're going to come see inshallah. So the Prophet ﷺ, he says, Al-ma'dal jubar wal-rikazu fihi al-khums. Al-ma'dal jubar. What is ma'dal jubar? Any person had hired a person in order to look for metal. And that person had been killed because of that. The person who had hired him, there's nothing on him. He doesn't have to pay anything. So if I hired you, for example, to a mine, the miners. If I hired you to go and do mining, and something had happened that falling onto you, I got nothing to do with that. So it's up to you to work because you have to take the hazards of it. Al-ma'dan jubar. Wal-farasu jubar. What is al-farasu jubar? You took a horse from me. You want to race with it. Or you want to have a nice ride with it. You took that faras, the horse, and with this faras, you went and that faras made you to hit something. Okay? Made you to hit something. And something happened to you. I am the owner of the faras. I don't pay anything with you because you have taken the horse. And the horse is an animal. So if you are a person who is on your horse, your own horse, and you are riding in the areas where you are allowed to ride, and there is nothing there, somebody had left his baby unattended, and you're running in an area which is not to be an area which is, let's say, residential, and that horse killed the baby, got nothing to do with you. Do you understand that? الفرس جوار والمعدن جوار. Then he says, وَفِي الرِّكَازِ الْخُمْسِ. And regarding a rikaz, which is the buried treasure, is to be a fifth of that. And I don't know if you've seen lots of people searching for treasures which has been buried by, for example, the Ottomans at that time before they left, because they left. That's nothing to do with this. And these people, they dig during the night, and lots of people found treasures as well, and they're not really rich. Those treasures they're looking for gold, but we said for us, the rikaz is anything. It could be gold, it could be silver, it could be any property, it could be any precious diamond. Those people, I don't know if you've heard, they would always have something like would sort of scare them off not to go ahead and excavate. Yes? Jinns. That those jinns that are guarding that treasure, it could be a snake. That jinn is a snake. And he will just be there to guard that treasure. Sometimes they bring the sheikh. They came to me a number of times to go with them. And they would say to me, there's a share for you, 10 to 20%. Just to read on the jinn. Because they're scared. Because it's during the night. Any person can be possessed by these jinns. So those, you could say, are guards for those treasures. And yes, we know that some people had been harmed by those jinns. And we know that some people that got really rich. I never myself attempted to go with these people. And I've seen with my own eyes the maps that they bring, which refers to the map of the Ottomans, you know, the ones who were in Turkey, and they were really running the Arab world at that time. They left, for example, marks by which they have put lots of gold, because they left the land in a hurry. So there's lots of gold that belongs to the army, for example. That is not rikaz. If you found it, it's yours. That's not rikaz. Same thing with petrol. Fuel, oil. If you find oil, nothing to do with the rikaz. So if you find it in your own garden, that's yours. That's in America, it's yours, you know that. If you found it in your own barn, whatever, that belongs to you. And you could hire any company and you'll become rich. But in our world, Muslim land, they don't let you to do that. Which is not an Islamic law. They will take it from you. So there will be the king or a deputy, whatever, that is anything to do with oil or treasures, they will take it to the treasury. And it's not supposed to be taken. This belongs to the person. It's my land, why are you taking it? I have purchased the land, whatever is in it, inside it, and whatever is above it. So whatever is inside it, what's above it? So if I found treasure there, that's mine. Why do you want to share with it? That's mine. If I want to give sadaqah, that's up to me. I mean, I hope that they will say that give us fifth. No. They will not give you the fifth of it. They'll take whole of it. And they might put you in prison. How did you find it? Well, it's my land. Fine. This rikaz, it is not to be 1 year. No, as soon as you find it, you pay a fifth. Where do you spend it? Well, it is up to the imam, the leader, the khalifa of the Muslimin, the president. He puts it where he deems it to be fit. And that's the zakah of the rikaz. There's no zakah on all other types of metals except for the what? Which are gold and silver. There's no zakah, which is like the zakah that we said, if it's 85 grams and all of that, it's only general sadaqah. So you've got rubies, diamonds, pearls, no zakah on those things, but there are general sadaqah. Okay, so there's no zakah on copper, metal, zinc, okay? All of those, there's no zakah on them. Right, let's go now to the following title, which is Masarif al-Zakah. Now,
the recipients of zakah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said,
إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين. Go ahead, translate.
The alms are only for the poor, the needy, those
وَالْعَامِلِينَ عَلَيْهَا
employed to collect the funds,
وَالْمُؤَلَّفَةِ قُلُوبُهُمْ
and to attract the hearts of those who have been inclined towards Islam,
وَفِي الرِّقَابِ
and to the free captives,
وَالْغَارِمِينَ
and for those in debt,
وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ
and for Allah's cause,
وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ
and for the wayfarer, a traveller who is cut off from everything.
فَرِيضَةً مِّنَ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ.
A duty imposed by Allah, and Allah is all-knower, all-wise.
Correct. Right. So Ibn Kathir regards this verse, what he says.
In his commentary to this verse, Ibn Kathir said, when Allah mentioned the objection to the Prophet ﷺ made by the ignorant hypocrites and their ridiculing of him with respect to the division of the charity, Allah made it clear that He was the one who established these categories and rulings. He did not leave the categories to anyone other than Himself. It is of...
Right, so Ibn Kathir, he says that the sadaqat, the zakah categories, is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He had shown it here. It doesn't mean that you have to pay all of them, but you could pay one or two, or one, or all of them. It's up to you. And that's the following title, and that is? Go ahead, read, subtitle.
It is obligatory to give all the categories of the people.
No.
The title.
There's a subtitle after that. Is it obligatory? Okay, doesn't matter. Let me just look at the old book. Maybe you've got reading the old version, because I've got an updated one. Hang on a second. Wait. No, don't go flip pages. It's just only the same page. Don't go. After you said the zakah, where does it go? You read the verse, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you read what Ibn Kathir had said.
Yeah, but it goes through each category one by one in the book.
No, hang on. Just read when you said Ibn Kathir. Read it again. And continue. And then I'll find out.
Ibn Kathir said, when Allah mentioned the objection to the Prophet ﷺ made by the ignorant hypocrites and their ridiculing of him with respect to the division of the charity, Allah made it clear that He was the one who established these categories and rulings. He did not leave the categories to anyone other than Him. And then it goes on to say,
don't stop, just keep continuing.
it is obligatory to give all these categories and people mentioned in the... Is it obligatory to give all the categories?
Now you change your mind. So please. Now you waited how many? 2-3 minutes. And I said to you, is it?
But it's not a title, just continue.
No, but he said it is. The difference between it is and is it, like this. When you say it is obligatory, that means you stated it's obligatory. But he's asking a question. Is it obligatory? So watch. You understand me? I know that you're not prepared. But when you say do you understand the difference? It's a question he wants to ask. Is it obligatory or not obligatory? You're saying now it is obligatory. You already decided. Go ahead. Again.
Is it obligatory to give all of the categories of the people mentioned in this verse? Ibn Kathir stated...
So this is a title, by the way. The subtitle. Is it obligatory to give all these 8 categories? Ibn Kathir says, now, yes.
The scholars differ concerning these 8 categories of people. Is it obligatory to give to all the categories, or can one give only to those feasible?
I'm going to read now. It is 2 different opinions. One opinion which says you have to give all of them. So if you've got, for example, £100, that's the zakah of your money. So I have to look for 8 categories. الفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها وفي الرقاب والغارمين وابن السبيل. So all of those categories I have to give them, all of them. And that is the saying of a Shafi'i and others. But the second category, which is most of the scholars, they say, no, you don't have to give all of them. You can give £100, all of them to the poor, or all of them to the needy, or all of them to the ones who are working with zakah, or all of it to the person who is freeing the slave, or the ones who are in debt, or the ones who are the wayfarer, which is the traveler, or the one who is in sabilillah. You can give all of that £100 to one person, or to divide it 50 to one and 150 to another category, no problem. And that's the correct opinion. Now let's go now, the categories one after the other. First one, al-fuqara. Now.
The poor. Ibn Amr narrated that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, charity is not permissible for a person of wealth or a person of sound limbs and strength. Ubaydullah ibn Ali ibn Khiyar narrated, two men informed me that they went to the Prophet ﷺ during the farewell pilgrimage while he was distributing charity and asked him for some. He looked at them and up and down and found them to be strong. He then said, "If you two wish, I will give you, but there is no share in it for a rich man or one strong and able to earn a living."
So the Prophet ﷺ saw these two young, strong, mashallah, well-built people coming to the Prophet of Allah while he's distributing the zakah. So they wanted to come and take some. So he looked at them like that. He said, "MashaAllah, how strong you are and big you are." Then he said, "Well, if you wish, I'll give you from the sadaqah, but this sadaqah should not be for the rich, nor for the person who is able to earn. Maybe you need now, but not to be all the time." Okay, let's say a special case now. But to keep yourself on the dole, it's not right. Do you understand me? To keep yourself on the dole all the time is not right. Is that on, by the way? By the way, it's really, I do hate heat. It irritates me. Can I just have the window open, please? I really hate heat. If I'm going to switch it off, I will just plug it or something. From there, plug it, from these buttons. Yeah. So he switched it off, it goes on, he said, by itself. Jim maybe puts it on.
Maybe.
Look, puts it on.
You only switch off this one, you left the other one.
Look,
It's on, coming on.
can you just from that red button, get rid of it? It reached me. Stop, I can't breathe.
Yes, but I'm sensitive to the price.
Please could you put the fan? I don't like heat. On me, you're cold. I'm the one who's something wrong with my liver. Yesterday I was teaching in popular masjid, and their heating is coming from underneath. So the table got hot. I stopped the class, and they said the heater has been switched off about 10 minutes, but it stays there an hour and a half. After that, even switched off, the full floor heater. I said, I'm going to go I have to go to the window. I have to teach you. I cannot take that because the heat is coming to me like that, and it's really hot. So teaching with the heat, by the way, gets you sleepy. When you make da'wah in the region park, you know that, what's that game of that? Speaker's Corner. Always forget it. Hyde Park. Speaker's Corner there. You find the people who are attentive and want to listen, the ones who come during the winter season. The one who comes for the summer season, they just come for entertainment, you know. That's just, look, clown, you know that clown. For them it's like a clown, do you understand it? But the ones in the winter, he's colder, he's just listening to you. More people embrace Islam in the winter than the ones in the summer. Because they are, listening. They want to listen. But I'm not saying seek knowledge in cold. I'm sorry for this. It's really cold. Look. It's cold. Please. Clear it up. Let's go back. The fuqara. Al-fuqara is the one who is the worst of poverty. Because the one after that, al-masakin, he is a bit better. Al-faqir is the one that you have to search for him. He might look rich, but he's not. Why? تحسبهم أغنياء من التعفف. You believe that they are rich because they don't want to ask. They will never ask and tolerate. If you give them as well, they start crying. They start crying because they feel like they don't want to be the lower hand. اليد العليا خير من اليد السفلى. The upper hand that gives better than the one which is the lower hand. These people, they don't want to ask. So you have to be as well very careful when you give them the money. If they felt that you are giving them one sense of humiliation, they will not take it from you. And you have to make as well sometimes tricks in order for them to take it. Maybe you can't give it to the man, because the man is having that pride. You have to give it to the what? To the wife. Through your wife, give it to the wife. Because he doesn't accept it, even though he's in need. He would rather die not to take money from you. He would say, can I work first? I have to give you something in exchange. You can't just give me that money like that. Those people are still there. Yes, there are quite few, but they are still there. You have to search for them. And when you find them, you should be happy. Because those are the ones who are going to transfer your money from your account here to Jannah's account. You should be happy when you find these people. تحسبهم أغنياء من التعب. Zuhair al-Amri, he said, I have said to Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As, tell me about sadaqah. What money it is? He said, the sadaqah is the worst of the money. It's the money to be given to the blind, to the one who's crippled, to the one who's orphaned, the one who hasn't got it. So I said to him, verily, the ones also working to distribute the zakah, they've got the right as well. And the mujahideen, he said, yes, for the workers according to how much they have worked. And for the mujahideen according to how much jihad they have done. For the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the sadaqah is not fit to the person who is strong, capable and all that. Masakin, the second category. Go ahead.
The needy. Abu Hurairah narrated that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, the needy person is not the one who goes around to the people and is dispensed with by a morsel or two of food, or 1 or 2 dates. They asked, who then is the needy, O Messenger of Allah? He said, he does not find enough to satisfy him, and he is not reckoned as needy, so people do not give him wealth while he does not ask anything of the people.
There is a difference among the scholars who is poorer, the faqir or the miskin. But because the ayah put the faqir before the miskin, we are inclined to accept the opinion of the scholars who said the faqir is poorer than the miskin. The miskin, he might ask, and sometimes he doesn't ask, or the faqir does not ask. Do you understand that? The miskin, he might ask, the faqir does not ask. But it's not all the time the miskin does ask. Sometimes he doesn't ask, and that's why he says that the miskin who doesn't find what satisfies him, the faqir who doesn't find anything. And nobody would know about him to give him sadaqah, and he does not ask the people. That's true. But sometime in another hadith, for the Prophet ﷺ, he said that he will ask. So sometimes he asks, sometimes he doesn't ask. So faqir and miskin, you could translate them into English, poor. I think they call it indigent. I don't understand what is indigent and a poor. What is the difference in English? But poor. But we're not poor. Number 3.
Those employed to collect the funds. They are the collectors and messengers who are deserving of a portion due to their efforts. However, it is not allowed to give them anything if they are relatives of the Prophet ﷺ, for whom it is not allowed to accept charity. It is confirmed in Sahih Muslim from Abdul Muttalib ibn Rabi'ah ibn Harith that he and Al-Fadl ibn Abbas asked the Prophet ﷺ to employ them in collecting the alms. He told them, alms are not permissible for Muhammad or for the family of Muhammad, as they are only the dirt of the people.
Right. The third category is the ones who work in to collect the zakah. So the one who collect the zakah, they will give it to the leader, and the leader will give a portion to them. And that portion is not just for them as well, a portion which will make them able to hire hotels and to take maybe a person to help them, all of that to be paid. So you're sending somebody to collect zakah into a different area. You have an Islamic sort of estate which is really huge. So you're sending people to collect the zakat to a province, like say in southern of Russia. So you pay him the expenses of his hotel. Of course, it's not going to be posh hotel, but it's normal, decent one. Expenses of if he's got a helper to work for him, the worker. Okay, all of that to be paid. From where? From the zakat he collects. So he'll bring it back, and whatever is from there, he will give portion to that, from that to that person, which include his expenses and his time, because he wants to as well spend money on his family. He wants to spend money on his family. He's a worker. So it will be given. So from the zakat, you can switch off that one. He's going to be getting cold now. Yeah, also that thing is because it's really pushing heat towards us. And you could close that one as well. That's it. Actually, close that one. Fine. He was actually that culprit is that. Fine. Except for those who are from Muhammad Sallallahu lineage. All the people who are called Sayyid, okay, or Ashraf, they are from the lineage of the Prophet Sallallahu, they're not allowed to take zakah. If they are poor, then there should be money being given to them from the Islamic state as a salary, for example, or a hadiyah, gift, but not a zakah or a sadaqah. And that's when the Prophet ﷺ saw Al-Hasan taking a date from the sadaqah, take it out. Even the child, he can't take it because of what? It's sadaqah. And the sadaqah is your dirty money. What does it mean, dirty money? That means you're purifying yourself by giving that sadaqah. So that money is not clean for those who are from Al-Bayt. They can't take it from the sadaqah, from the zakah. It has to be from a gift or a salary if they are poor. Included with Al-Muhammad Sallallahu, the ones who are free slave, emancipated. So a person, let's say from Al-Muhammad, the family Muhammad, he had a slave and he had, and he had set him free. That person, because his loyalty still to the owner, which is from the family Muhammad, he's not allowed to take zakah as well. Do you understand? Mawali al-Bayt from Al-Bayt. Prophet said, Al-Mawali minna Al-Bayt. They are from us. So any person like Thawban, he was not from the family of the Prophet, but he cannot receive zakah because he was emancipated by the Prophet of Allah. Thawban radiallahu anhu. And Zayd, Usama ibn Zayd. Okay, all of those cannot be having zakah. Also, Banu al-Muttalib. Who's Banu al-Muttalib? Al-Muttalib is the uncle of the grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ. The reason behind this is the Prophet of Allah, he had combined Banu al-Muttalib and Banu Hashim. We have Quraysh, the person who had led to the Quraysh, a person called Abd Manaf. His name is Abd Manaf. He had 4 sons, Hashim and Al-Muttalib and Abd Shams and Nawfal. Those are the ones who are pro-Quraysh. So, from Hashim came Abd al-Muttalib. And Abd al-Muttalib, the slave of al-Muttalib, what's the reason behind his name? He came with his uncle al-Muttalib, the brother of his father, which is Hashim. When they came to Mecca, people thought because he's young that he's a slave of his uncle. They call him Abd al-Muttalib, but his name is Shayba. His name is Abd al-Muttalib. And that's the grandfather of the Prophet ﷺ. And then from Abd al-Muttalib came Abdullah, and of course the brothers of Abdullah, Abu Lahab, and Al-Harith, Abbas, Hamza, all of those. Okay, Abu Talib, all of those came from Abd al-Muttalib. From them Abdullah, and the son of Abdullah is Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So, now why the Prophet of Allah, he said Al-Muttalib and Banu Hashim are the same. They are united. And he did not include the lineage of Abd Shams and the lineage of Nawfal. He did not include those. The other uncles of his grandfather. The reason behind this, when the boycotting took place to the Prophet of Allah and his uncle Abu Talib for 3 years, and they went into the valley and the area that belongs to Abu Talib, the ones who had united with them from the sons of Abd Manaf is Al-Muttalib. So the Muttalib lineage gone with Hashemite. And the others were siding against them. So the Prophet ﷺ excluded them from. So he could give zakat to those, Banu Abd Shams, and from Banu Abd Shams, Uthman Affan comes in. From Abd Shams and from Nawfal, it comes Hakim ibn Hizam. They companions from them, but they're not to be from Al-Bayt. So Al-Bayt, Prophet ﷺ said, Banu Hashim, and also Banu Muttalib in terms of zakat. Not Al-Bayt in terms of zakat. They cannot take zakat because they were with the Prophet of Allah ﷺ's family. You understand that? So the ones who cannot take zakat now, we said, Banu Hashim, and Banu Muttalib, and the slaves of Banu Hashim who being emancipated, freed. Okay? Now we know they cannot be taken zakat. Now number 4, please.
Number 4, those whose hearts have been inclined towards Islam. Some are to be given so that they will accept Islam. For example, the Prophet ﷺ gave Safwan ibn Umayyah from the booty of Hunayn as he had participated in that battle while he was a polytheist. Safwan said, he continued to give me until he became the most beloved person to me after he had been the most hated person to me. Some are to be given...
Okay. What happened is Safwan ibn Umayyah was a mushrik. When the Prophet ﷺ, he had taken Mecca, repossessed it. The Prophet ﷺ, he straight away after opening Mecca, he went to Hunayn. Some of the mushriks surrendered, but they didn't want to embrace Islam. One of them, Safwan ibn Umayyah. Even he had Prophet ﷺ, he borrowed from him about 40 to 30 dir'a, shield. And he was a mushrik, Safwan ibn Umayyah. And imagine any army in the world invading a land, and then they took hold of the land, and they know that there's somebody who's got lots of machine guns. Would these people who had invaded the land and took control will borrow those machine guns or will confiscate it? They will not even negotiate with the guy. They go to his warehouse and took all the machine guns. Now look at this. Prophet of Allah, he took hold and control of Mecca. And he said, he who locks the doors on himself, he is safe. As long as he doesn't find. He who goes into the Kaaba is safe. Who's the one who enters the house of Abu Sufyan is safe. And some of them did not embrace Islam. So the Safwan ibn Umayyah, he had lots of arms. Spears, shield. So the Prophet ﷺ, he just said to him, we want to borrow because Banu Thaqif and Hawazin, they are really gaining, power, and they want to invade us. Straight away, 2 months, just about 1 month, between the invasion of Mecca and the Battle of Hunayn. So the Prophet ﷺ took the same 10,000 who came into Mecca, plus 2,000 who just embraced Islam, along with me, 12,000. So he didn't have enough shields and spears and all that. So he went to Safwan. I want to borrow from you 30, 40. He said, Ariyatun mu'adda, or is it going to be like something that you borrow, you're going to give me back, or that's it, finished? He said, no, Ariyatun mu'adda. I will borrow and give it back to you. So the Prophet ﷺ went to the Battle of Hunayn and he won a lot. A lot because those mushrikeen, they were fooled. They brought everything with them. The leader of theirs, he brought everything because he wanted the fighter to fight for everything. So he brought behind him all the cattle and all the gold and all the silver and the women and the children, and he thought this is going to give encouragement to the soldier to fight to the last drop of his blood. When the Prophet saw this, he was so happy. He knew there was going to be a lot of more booty. Very easy. As soon as the battle started, yes, there was at the beginning some sort of shake into the Muslim army because they have said we're not going to be defeated because we are a few in number. So Allah to show them that the victory is not because of the number. But later on the victory was theirs. And all of those kuffar left. Prophet of Allah took the booty. And he waited. He did not give it to them, divided it. He waited and he sent for those who went back to seek shelter in their areas in Hunayn. If you want to come back, surrender, take your items. So the Prophet did not divide it. He waited for a month, they did not come back. Some of them came, they took their item. Some did not, lots of them did not come. So lots of war booty of the Prophet. Kettles. So he came now to Safwan ibn Umayyah. Safwan ibn Umayyah is the one we borrowed from him arms. So he gave him not just the arms that he borrowed. He gave them lots and lots of sheep, like a valley of sheep. Because of your arms, we won the battle. So Safwan ibn Umayyah, he himself says, Prophet of Allah, he gave me so much. Wallahi, that there was nobody hated to me amongst the people than himself. He started giving me until he became the most beloved person to me. See, the money changes the person. He thought the Prophet of Allah is a bad man. The Prophet of Allah is a stingy person. The Prophet of Allah started gave him until he loved us. He said, nobody is dear to me than the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah's Messenger, with this giving, he is trying to make this person to embrace Islam. So he given to a mushrik. So if you have seen a person who is about to enter Islam, he's not a Muslim, but you know that as soon as he embraces Islam, he's going to put a flag, especially if it's a sister. He's going to be putting the hijab, a flag of a Muslim, so he's going to cause a lot of trouble to the environment around him. And that is, his mother's going to maybe disown him, his father going to disown him, his job is going to kick him out, or they're going to make it difficult for him. He's going to lose lots of things. So that's why Islam comes to help. So it's not a bribe, basically. More than that, making the person who wants to enter Islam to be assured, don't worry, we are there to help you. There is, for you, a right in my money, in my zakah. You have a due right. So if you enter Islam, don't worry about that financial sort of burden. We are there to help you. And there is for you a portion in the zakah. That's what the all is all about. It's not like missionaries giving money. Either become a Christian or giving money. No. They give him money because we tell him, as soon as you leave your religion, maybe you're in need. You could take. Second one, go ahead.
Some are to be given in order to improve their Islam and make their hearts firm. For example, also after Hunayn, the Prophet ﷺ gave 100 camels to some of the nobles of those who embraced Islam in Mecca after it was conquered. He stated, I give to the person while another is more beloved to me out of fear that Allah may throw him on his face into the hellfire.
SubhanAllah, he wants to give them so that Allah will not throw them in their faces into the hellfire. That means to make them embrace Islam. So he would give those who are the warriors, the head of the tribes and all of that, to make them embrace Islam. But when they embrace Islam, lots of people will embrace Islam after they embrace Islam. So he given Al-Aqra' ibn Habis, U'ayn ibn Badr, Alqamah ibn Udatha, Zayd ibn Khayr, and he said, I am just trying to soften their hearts. So reconciling of the hearts. Right, go ahead. In the Sahihayn.
Bukhari and Muslim report from Abu Sa'id that Ali sent to the Prophet ﷺ a gold nugget still in its dirt from Yemen. He distributed it amongst 4 people.
I have mentioned it, by the way. And he said, I'm trying to soften their hearts with. And then he says,
some people are given out of hopes that their peers will embrace Islam. Others are given to collect alms from his surrounding areas. And some may be given in order to fend off any harm to the Muslims from their border areas.
So I give a person from that to soften her heart in order for him to go and collect zakah from the others. Even if he's a mushrik. I'll give him as well, that is, he would protect me from the other enemy. So I'll give him, you understand me? So I'll give a person who's a disbeliever, but I know that he is a strong person, and he's got lots of people behind him, lots of followers, so he will defend me from the danger of another enemy. You understand that? That goes as well from the zakat. Now.
And Allah knows best. is the zakah still to be given to those whose hearts are to be reconciled after the time of the Prophet?
So do we still give it after the Prophet of Allah, or we stop it? There's a difference among the scholars. Umar Khattab and others, he said, no, we don't give it. And that's why Umar Khattab, he stopped straight away the Shia. As soon as he had received the leadership, he wants to embrace Islam, welcome. We're not going to give him money for embracing Islam. So Umar Khattab, he had cancelled what? That al-mu'allafa qulubum. Because now we used to pay it because we were in weakness at the time to make people enter Islam. But now we are powerful. So we don't need to give them money. And that's what Umar Khattab has said. But actually, others have said, and they are more right. And that is, still to give it, because the Prophet of Allah had given after the regaining of Mecca. He had given after gaining Mecca. But after he gained Mecca, he was powerful, the Prophet of Allah. And he had given, so we say, we give still to reconcile the hearts of Allah Ta'ala. The fifth category. Al-Riqab. Go ahead.
To free the captives. It is narrated from Al-Hasan Al-Basri, Muqatil ibn Hayyan,
Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, Sayyid ibn Jubayr, wal-Nakha'i, wal-Zuhri, ibn Zayd. That
this is in reference to the slaves who made an agreement to pay for their freedom.
Okay, so the slave, he could make mukataba. Mukataba, an agreement with his master. I want to free myself. How much should I pay you in order to free me? Okay? So, a zakah can be paid. So either this person will go to collect the money from other people, and other people start paying from their own zakah to set him free. Do you understand? How much do you want? 500 to set myself free. Okay, I'll give you 100. From a zakah, another person give him 100. Even the owner could himself decrease his price as a zakah. Or he could set him as part of his zakah, all in three. So, a person who made a deal with his master, or the master want to set him free, that's also a zakah. Go ahead. Abdullah ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas al-Hasan, he says,
Abdullah ibn Abbas and Hassan also stated that there is no harm in freeing slaves with the zakah. This is the view of Ahmed, Malik and Ishaq. Slaves is a more general category than those slaves who have contracted to pay for their freedom. Hence, one can purchase slaves and free them independently. There are many hadith that speak about the virtues of freeing and releasing slaves. For example, Allah will rescue for him every limb due to the limbs that He set free, even down to the private parts.
right. When this hadith was being given to one of the companions, he said to him, did you hear this hadith, Abu Hurairah? He said, yes, I've heard it from the Prophet. So he called the biggest slave that he's got. His name is Mutarrif. Come here. He said, you are free for the sake of Allah. Because it says here, for every limb from the slave that you set free, one of your limbs will be set free from the fire. So he chose the most powerful, the biggest arm, and the biggest legs, and the biggest thighs. You are free for the sake of Allah, because He will guarantee now his arm and his legs is going to be free from the fire. So he called the one which is most costly. You know, the bigger he is, the stronger, most costly, most expensive. And he set him free. So the riqab is either slave, he makes a deal with his master to purchase himself, to set himself free so that people will help, that's from the zakah. Or you, person who's the owner of the slave, you set him free, that's the zakah. Or you go and purchase a slave from somebody and you set him free, that's the zakah. So we've got three things. Al-riqab. And here, watch. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the ayah, if you look at the ayah that we have mentioned from the beginning, Allah Azza wa Jal had switched in the prepositions. He said, إنما الصدقات للفقراء والمساكين والعاملين عليها والمؤلفة قلوبهم. Between these فقراء, مساكين, عاملين عليها والمؤلفة, the letter between them is wa, and. So the sadaqat, zakat, be paid to the faqir, to the miskin, to the one who's the worker. Faqir, miskin means we said poverty. And the one who's workers, and the one to reconcile their hearts. But when it came wafir riqab, the ones who are to be set free from the slaves, he switched from the wa to the wafi. He put fi. And in the riqab. And that's a great proposition because it does gives us another scope, which is when you give the zakat to the faqir, you have to give it directly in his hand, to the miskeen directly in his hand, to the worker who was working for collecting the zakat as well in his hand, the one to reconcile his heart in his hand. But if you want to set the slave free, I don't have to give it to hand to the slave, I could give it to the master. Do you understand that? And whoever comes after that will be dealt the same. So what is the one after that? فَفِي الرِّقَابِ. Go on, read the one after that, please.
And for those in debt.
The one in debt. So the one in debt is following al-riqab. So وَفِي الرِّقَابِ وَالْغَارِمِينَ. So the al-gharimin here is following the fee. What does that mean? If somebody is in debt, I don't have to pay the money to him. I could pay it to the creditor. See what I mean? I pay the creditor. How much money he owes you? 50,000. Okay, that's 50,000. Okay. Which is better, to pay it to the one who's in debt or to the creditor? Which is better? It depends. If you believe that person who's in debt, he is keen to settle his debt, that's not going to cheat. Okay? Then it's better to give it to the one who's in debt. Why? Because if you don't give it to the debt, he will now feel more powerful, more honored when he gives it to the one who's credited. That's your money, brother, he gave me. He feels honored. But if you give it to the creditor, he feels humiliated. He feels weak. You understand me? Do you understand what I'm saying? You are in debt to somebody. Do you like somebody to pay your debt straight away, or you like somebody to pay you pay your debt? The one creditor. Somebody pays me. So the one who doesn't know how I got it, this money. I got it ZAKAAH, I got the money. That's your money worth. Okay? So that would be more of a plan. But if you think this person who's in debt, you always give him money, he's spending it on something else. Buying fairy liquid, or whatever. Okay? So I will give it to the creditor. I'm not going to give it to him. Okay? You understand that? Because now we said, وَفِي الرِّقَابِ وَالْغَارِمِينَ. And also, وَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. Go ahead. Read the gharimun now. How do we read the gharimun? What are the gharimun? Go ahead.
Those in debt, these fall into different categories. These include those who incurred expenses in solving disputes among others.
Okay. This is what happens if, for example, let's say two tribes had a revenge amongst them. Let's say one person killed another person. And those persons, okay, they want the blood money now. Or there was reconciliation where the people have to pay penalty, a big loan, like big money, or 100,000. Otherwise there will be bloodshed. So this person is like from the head of another tribe. He intervenes and he says, okay, that money which that you are requiring from that tribe is on me. And Islam encouraged that in order to reconcile. So you put it on yourself. When you put it on yourself, you are entitled now to collect zakat. In order to settle what? The dispute. Even if you are Mr. Bill Gates and you don't want to spend a penny of your own money. So Bill Gates can stop, if he's a Muslim of course, and from the people, I want your zakat to settle between the Mr. Bill Gates, you've got billions. I don't want to use my billions, I want to use your zakat. Do you understand? And he's encouraged. It's not going to be bullied, oh, you stingy, you're not paying anything with your money. I don't want to, I am just intervening, and all those people, they're going to kill one another. And I'm intervening, and I say this and everybody, but they will not, of course, let anybody to intervene. It has to be a person whom they think that he's going to settle the debt. Somebody's not going to be, who are you to pay the 100,000? He's got nothing. So it has to be a person who they know him that he's going to guarantee. So if he stands up, so he is entitled to go to the masjid, so please brothers, I'm reconciling between two groups, and this is the papers and everything. I want to collect zakat. So people can give him zakat in order. We call it in Arabic, تحمل حمال. He had burdened himself with the debt of somebody else. To reconcile, in order to reconcile. That's the first category. Number two, go ahead. Oh, number two is going to be in the hadith. Go ahead. Just keep reading and I will...
The basis...
the basis, go ahead.
The basis for this is the hadith of
He says,
who said, I incurred a debt resolving a dispute between the people and went to the Messenger of Allah ﷺ asking him to help pay it. The Messenger of Allah ﷺ said, Wait until some charity is brought to us so that we can give it to you. He then said, O Qabisa, begging is not allowed except in 3 cases.
Okay, so those are the 3 cases that we have to memorize. 3 cases for the person who is in debt. He could collect zakah. Number 1.
A man who incurred debts solving disputes.
That's number 1, which is himself.
Number 2, he is allowed to ask until he collects it.
This is number 1, still number 1.
He is allowed to ask until he collects its amount and then must stop.
So he stops when he finished collecting the money, whatever is X, Y, Z, he stops. Now,
A man who is
that's the second.
A man who is inflicted by a disaster that consumed his wealth. He is allowed to ask until he collects what suffices for his livelihood.
This Mr. Bill Gates, Muslim Bill Gates, is mashallah rich. Somehow, his whatever investment is collapsed. Microsoft and everything, gone. From billionaire to one person who's poor. So he's allowed to be given zakah until he can survive, for example, for a year or so. The third one.
And a man who was overcome by poverty, such that 3 knowledgeable relatives of his stand up and proclaim.
3 relatives of his?
Stand up and proclaim.
Just related, not no distinction in relatives?
3 knowledgeable relatives.
Knowledgeable as well. 3 knowledgeable relatives, not
3 knowledgeable relatives of his stand up and proclaim, so and so was overcome by poverty. This man is allowed to ask until he collects what sustains his livelihood. Other than these cases, begging is an unlawful amount that one illegally consumes.
Okay. What's the difference between the second case and the third case? Why the third case that we need 3, says knowledgeable or known amongst the tribe? Without, for example, I would say not knowledgeable, senior, a better word, 3 senior. They should stand and they say, yeah, this person, yes, he's in need. Was the second case, that he was rich, somehow his Microsoft, remember, collapsed, or he's got a farm or orchard, something had burnt it, okay? Then we don't need 3 senior people. It's the difference between jaiha and faqa. Faqa, sudden poverty. Okay. The difference between them, that the person who was rich and he had a jaiha, people can see it. They know that now in the market, Microsoft had collapsed, for example, or the orchard of this person is being burnt, or all the factories of these things have been collapsed because of the earthquake and the flood. You could see it with their own eyes. Whereas the other person is rich and he's become poor, but nobody knows how. You understand? Nobody knows how. It was like something only the close people to him, they know it. And that's why 3 people from his relatives, senior ones, known to be truthful, they know about this person, they will stand up and they say, by Allah, this person become poor. He is eligible for the zakah. Then he will take from the zakah. Do you understand the difference between the 3? So we understood now who is allowed to take from the debts. Number 7.
For Allah's cause.
So who is allowed to take from the zakah from the debtors? Number 7. Now,
for Allah's cause, this refers to...
For Allah's cause, Isabilillah, it refers to 2 categories. Number 1, go ahead.
This refers to the fighters who have no right to receive money from the public treasury.
So they are for those who are mujahidun. Now, they're mujahidun. So you can make jihad, this person jihad, you give zakah. So you either give him a horse, you give him money to buy arms and all of that. That's zakah fi sabilillah. Also, in the Imam Ahmad,
according to Ahmed, Al-Hasan and Ishaq, it also includes the pilgrimage to Mecca based on a hadith.
And Hajj. So you provide an amount or transport to someone who's not able to make Hajj, that's fi sabilillah. So we've got 2. But not anything fi sabilillah, building university, building masjid, that's not fi sabilillah. Even those fi sabilillah, but it's not included in that word. So some people start collecting for their charity. Fi sabilillah, fi sabilillah, either jihad or Hajj, nothing else. Right, let's go to the hadith. Hadith Ibn Abbas.
Either author add that Ibn Kathir is referring to the following hadith narrated by Ibn Abbas. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was intending to perform the pilgrimage. A woman said to her husband, "Let me make the pilgrimage with the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam." He replied, "I have nothing for you to make the pilgrimage on." She said, "Let me ride on such and such camel of yours." He replied, "It is being kept for the sake of Allah." He then went
Kept
to...
for the sake of Allah, kept for the, put these between brackets, for jihad. Because if he said for the sake of Allah, everything for the sake of Allah. Kept for the jihad. Now.
It is being kept for the sake of Allah in jihad. He then went to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, "My wife conveys her greetings to you. She has asked me to make the pilgrimage with you. I told her that I have nothing for her to make the pilgrimage on, and she requested such and such camel. I told her that it was being kept for the sake of Allah in jihad." The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam...
Is that in jihad? You added it, yes?
Yeah.
Very good.
The Prophet ﷺ then told him, if you let her make the pilgrimage upon it, it would be for Allah's cause.
In jihad.
In jihad.
Yeah, that one. Right, so if you had given her that horse to make hajj, it's like you're giving it to a jihad. For the sake of fighting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for the sake of fighting the sake of Allah. So we understand now, he said, and it's very important because lots of people collect money from the zakah under this category. He said, so you open the charity or you want to, for example, a masjid. You cannot give zakah to the masjid to build the masjid. You understood, everyone? So for those who are collecting for the masjid here, when they're saying zakah, then they have to take this zakah to the 8 categories mentioned here. They can't make zakah, collect zakah and buy air conditioning for the masjid. This is from the ZAKAAH, from the hadiyah, not from the zakah. And I'm sure that the admins, they know that. So they want to put the zakah, so let's say this box. So this box should be clear. What is that money for? Should put it, for example, donation. It will be donation. So it could be for category zakah and anything, building the masjid. But if it says zakah, and whatever is in that box cannot be given to the masjid. You cannot buy boards and fans and air conditioning. This is not for the masjid. For the 8 categories, fi sabilillah means either jihad or hajj. Now, number 8.
Number 8 for the wayfarer. This refers to the traveler who is cut off in a foreign land and has nothing to help him along in his journey. He is to be given from the zakah until he is able to reach his homeland, even if he be a person of wealth. This is also the ruling for a person who starts a journey from his land and has no money. He is to be given sufficient money from the zakah until he is able to go and return. The evidence for this position is in the verse above, as well as the following hadith recorded by Abu Dawood and Ibn Majah, and from the hadith of Mamar from Yazid ibn
So if
Aslam.
a person, he is not able to reach his money, and he's rich, but he wants to go back to his home, then we give him what? Zakah. Is it better for him to take zakah or to take a loan, and then he will say to the person, I'll give it back to you when I return home and I get to my money? Which one is better? A loan. He will not take zakah because it will be upper hand. Don't take a loan, brother. He's entitled. If he took zakah, you could give him the zakah, he's not to refer it back to you because zakah. But to show that he's on the upper hand, I'll take a loan from you until I get to my money and I'll pay it back. But he's allowed to take the zakah. Whether he's going home or he's going outside his home for a journey, he is needed to do it. Like for example, his mother died in a different country. Nobody there to look after the wealth and or whatever, the procession of the funeral except for him. And he hasn't got money to go to travel to Pakistan or whatever the country is. So we give him what? From the zakah, because he's going to what? To participate in something which is very important and it's halal. And I'm not going to give him zakah in order for him to go on, a'udhu billah, fornicate with a woman there. Do you understand this? I give him zakah and no problem. So zakah, whether you're going back home or you're going to something which is very important from the journey. Prophet of Allah, he said,
It is not permissible to give charity to a rich person except in 5 cases.
Look, it's not permissible to give zakah to a rich person. But there are 5 cases we could give it to a rich, and that is number one.
Number one employed to collect the zakat.
Okay, we employed Bill Gates. Employed Bill Gates to collect the zakat. He's entitled to say, okay, I want my expenses. He's a billionaire. So we give him from the zakat that he collects for his expenses. Do you understand that? His expenses, whether how much hotel he had used, Hi Suleiman, whatever he has gone, we give him. He had helpers as well, we give him. Because maybe this man is known to be everybody that he will collect zakat quickly. It's better thinking to make the person who is rich to collect the zakat is better. Do you know why? Because people are more of accepting him to collect the zakat rather than to give it to a poor person or they think maybe he'll take it to his pocket. So we always give it to somebody who's filled, not somebody who's hungry. Okay, so you employ somebody who's filled. Okay? And the people will say that, oh, we'll give him zakat willingly because we know that he's rich, he's not going to take it to himself. So we'll give him the zakat. So to employ somebody like that, it will be better. And he's entitled to ask from the zakat later on, who had employed him, the governor, I want my expenses. And we give him from the zakat. Second rich man,
A fighter for the sake of Allah.
Easy. Well, I'm going to go along with you, but it's not the second one here. The hadith. Fight for the sake of Allah. Bill Gates is a Muslim. I'm not going to say Bill Gates, I'm sorry. And he wants to fight for the sake of Allah. Okay? I'm going to provide, I'm buying a horse. He's able to buy a horse and buy not the horse, buy the whole army. But I'm buying a horse for him, zakat. I'm allowed to do that. I'm buying money for him for machine guns. Zakat. He's allowed to take that. Do you understand that? Even if he's a rich person. So he's rich and he's receiving the zakat to fight for the sake of Allah. Number three.
A rich person who bought an item of charity with his wealth.
Right, okay. A person, he had given zakat, let's say a sheep. Okay, he had given a sheep to somebody who was poor. And that poor person, he put it in the market. Okay? So this person had sold that sheep in the market and he bought it. Do you understand me? He bought that zakat. Even though he had bought it less than it was. So he gave it as, for example, cost me £500, that sheep or that camel. And he found it for £100. He would buy it. But if he deliberately bought it, for example, if he knows, or he told the poor person who's giving him, okay, that's your camel, from the zakat of my camels. Can I buy it from you? You know he's going to give it to you for what? Peanut price. You're not allowed to purchase your own zakat. You're not allowed. But if you found it in a market without any plans, you're allowed to purchase it. And that's why the zakat is being given now, his own zakat, to somebody who's rich. He had paid it himself, and he took it. That's how many people now? 4, yeah?
3.
3? Is it? 4, he said.
The fourth one was
Okay, let's just say, person, read them again. From the beginning.
One employed to
That's number one.
collect the zakat.
Number
A
two.
fighter for the sake of Allah.
Let's do it. 3.
A rich person who bought an item for charity with his wealth.
Bought a charity, bought a zakat. Charity zakat, yeah. This is what, number 4.
A poor person who is given zakat and then he gives it as a gift to a rich person and a debtor.
Right. But this is 4. What is the 5th one? The debtor.
So gives it as a gift to a rich person and a debtor. So
Right, let me just give you the 4th one. Prophet ﷺ, he's not allowed to eat from the zakat or the sadaqah. He had a slave woman. Okay? That slave woman, she had, because she's a slave, a sadaqah or a zakat being given to her, which is a sheep. So when the Prophet ﷺ came to the house, it's being given to him to eat. So he had eaten from it. He said, Messenger of Allah, it's a zakat, a sadaqah. He said, no, it's a sadaqah to Barra, which is his slave. And she has given it to us what? As a gift. Do you understand me? So sadaqah being given to her, but not to me. And she's given it to us as a gift, there's no problem. So now that's A person who's rich is taking sadaqah because it's a gift, it's not a zakat. That's the fourth one. أو غارم.
So the fifth one is the debtor.
The debtor has nothing to do with he bought it. So the gharim. Gharim is the person, as we said, he is rich and he is collecting to reconcile. Remember? Remember, we said to reconcile. He's a rich person. Bill Gates tried to reconcile between two tribes. He's rich. He doesn't want to settle from his own money. He wants to collect his zakat in order to reconcile. He's rich. So those are the 5 cases. But the one translation is not right, is it?
Just as a debtor.
But you said you debtor because it's been a gift.
Yeah.
You're linking him to the gift. Read the last place statement after the...
A poor person who is given given zakah and then he gives it as a gift to a rich person and a debtor. So all.
It's not right. The debtor has nothing to do with the purchasing a gift. The debtor here is the one, as I said, he borrows money or he wants to reconcile between 2 people. So he's reconciled to 2 people, they want 100,000. He said, 100,000 is on me. He becomes now a debtor. He's in debt for 100,000. So he is now, could be rich, could be Bill Gates himself. He's entitled to receive zakat, he's rich. Do you understand that? So that translation is not right, is it? It's not right. So the debtor is another category. It's nothing to do with buying the gift and giving it to the debtor. Has that understood, everybody? I want a shake of the head. Understood it?
No, quite.
No, not quite. Okay, go ahead. That translation, forget about it. So let's just...
You take a translation that someone wants to coincide between the 2 books. Even if it's rich, it's like that.
Yes. So, do you understand that? That's the one. So that debtor has nothing to do with the gift. So a debtor means he had taken the debt of other people because he wants to reconcile between them, and he's rich himself. So he's receiving zakah in order to settle that debt to pay to those group. Is that understood? Yes? Now yes?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the 5th category. Now that's why I said to you the hadith it doesn't really go like this. The hadith says as follows. The sadaqah is not fit for a rich person except for 5. The one who is working on it. Second one, a man who had purchased it with his own money. The third one is the debtor. The 4th one is the one who is in jihad. And the 4th one who is a miskeen who had a zakat to himself, but then he given it a gift to somebody who was rich. That's the hadith. But he's given it the other way around and he had swapped this with this. Okay? The translation, not you. Right. By this, alhamdulillah, we finish. If you have any questions regarding what we've heard, you've got 5 minutes. Any question regarding what we have heard? Because we have finished now as zakah in totality. If there is anything that you need to ask me, the transaction, I remember yourself, you were good in chicken and all of that last time. Now, follow.
If there is a person who he sees himself as one of these 8 categories, where does he go to collect the zakat? Because in this community there's no one, for example, where are the poor listed?
If a person is a poor person, where can he collect zakat from? So he's in need. Either he would communicate with the masjid, administration, imam, tell him somebody else, I'm in need. I've got, electricity bill, I can't pay it. I've got gas bill, I can't pay it. So the masjid would investigate. Send someone and ask him for papers and why you haven't got money. It's very hard to find poor people in this country. Very hard. But there are. I'm not saying there are. And don't presume that everybody's here rich. That is not right. There are people who can't even pay their bills, and we know this. They can't pay it because of one reason or another. Now, what's the question here? And then speaker, please.
When it approaches Christmas, what is the best way to explain to a non-Muslim family why we cannot celebrate with them?
A non-Muslim family.
Yeah.
Right, you've got neighbors who's going to celebrate Christmas. And you are,
They just added, sorry, we got some more
Go on,
information.
and, okay, read everything so you can finish it one go.
For example, a kind gesture someone makes for you as food without being asked. For example, they just come and give you food on Christmas Day or something like this.
Finish all of it, please.
However, they are not Muslim, so their meat is not halal. Can the person maybe suggest to give it to someone else, or can we take it and give it to someone else ourselves?
Right. Okay. Brothers and sisters, when you come to your deen, you should not compromise. Your deen comes first. And pleasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is supposed to be your goal. And I'm not going to be compromising the pleasure of Allah because of the pleasure of the neighbors, or the pleasure of even Muslim neighbors regarding the birth and the mawlid of the Prophet. You have neighbors who are non-Muslims that are giving you food because of the Christmas. What should I do? I'm embarrassed. Why should you embarrass them? Now what does that food represent? Either the food is in itself halal, but the occasion is haram, or the food and the occasion is both haram. The occasion is Christmas, and the food is even a halal. Here in halal, I mean, you're talking about pork. But if it's meat, it's halal, because the Christian country anyway, it's been slaughtered. So don't you ever think there is the meat which is a Christian meat from the Christian butcher is not halal, it's halal. So as the halal, tesco halal or halal. Okay? Because they're Ahlul Kitab. But you're saying not halal because pork, or anything non-halal food. So we say to the person who's bringing it, dear neighbor, thank you very much, but you should know, it is not you should know, we should tell you, and we are really sorry we did not tell you, and before we short to tell you that we do not eat non-halal food, and we do not accept, if it's halal, as well food being given on an occasion which we don't believe, and an occasion that would go along with our deen. And I'll give you an example. You tell him that. I'll give you an example. We do not accept even food offered to us on the occasion of the birth of our Prophet Muhammad. So that is an occasion which is religious, and the most beloved person to us is Prophet Muhammad. But any person who celebrates the birthday, we call it innovation, and any person making food for that occasion, we don't eat it. So it's not just because it's Jesus, peace be upon him, or Christmas is because of that. It's because those occasions we believe they are not proper occasions. And that's what it is. So with these nice words, he was like, really? You have more? Yes, we had the birth. Actually, the birth of the Prophet just going to be 2 days. So with Christmas, you can tell them, we had it about a month ago. And Muslims offered us some food, so we didn't accept it. Because we cannot accept something, but we believe that it is to uphold something which is not good, or not going along with what we believe. That's why. So we don't believe Jesus, peace be upon him, to be the Lord. We believe he's a prophet. Even as a prophet, we don't believe that we should celebrate his birthday, like we should not celebrate the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad. Like this, you have to be open. Otherwise, you're going to compromise. And then you're going to eat. They're going to give the sweets as well to those people who are in the Halloween. You call it what? Trick? What's it? Trick or treat. Trick or treat? I opened the door once during the night, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. Either 2 years ago or 3 years ago, when I moved to this neighborhood. It's all of it. This is yours. So I opened the door in the night, and this little girl with this horrible mask, and she's got her father behind her. So what? Sorry? I didn't understand that word. I said, sorry, I don't understand. Her father said, no, it's okay, it's okay. I said to him, we don't celebrate these things, my dear. I'm really sorry. We don't really explain. Okay, it's understandable. Never came up again. Never passed my door. They respected my wishes. But she scared me off. Because he opened the door, and this funny hat shape and the scary thing, and then this is trick or treat. So you either give you a trick, or so something from me by scaring me off. Logically speaking, it's not allowed. It's like you say to me, give me a treat or I'll shoot you. But you're not going to shoot you, but going to give you a trick. You understand me? And it's always based upon what? Something which is not true. Hoax. You understand the background of it? It's always hoax. It's to do with, I'm not going to go into the background, but when I read it, I said, subhanAllah, fairy tale stories. People believe it. And they know it is not true, but they're still doing it. Still doing it. The Samaheen, you remember the Samaheen and all of that? Yeah, well, never mind. Anyway, they put this pumpkin as well. Yeah, come out of that day. Yeah, well, not spirits, they come. Shaitan people, they come along with that. Like, so we can't compromise already. Jazakallah khair. I need to make a leave. So if you have any questions, please, let's just last question. Fadal. You haven't asked one.
No, you just said you're going to touch about Mawlid.
Mawlid, I cannot touch on it at all because it's a big topic. But you should not really celebrate the Mawlid. Okay? And you've got lots of things attached to it. You should have really asked me and stopped me a long time ago. I need to go now. I need to go.
My brother asked me to ask you one question about the ZAKAAH. Where that came.
Yes.
Basically what he said was he's got an organisation where he collects ZAKAAH. And he collects it for people in Bangladesh, for the poor to build them homes. Is it permissible to...
It's not allowed to collect ZAKAAH and go and build home to somebody who is poor. And this person, whoever he is, should fear Allah. Before he starts to collect ZAKAAH, he should learn the rule of the ZAKAAH. You should have stayed here. I didn't answer this question. You should sit here and learn from me. You can't just go and open charities and then, can I do this, can I do that? And already I built homes and everything, collected money. You cannot collect, when I collect ZAKAAH, I have to give it to the poor person in his hand. He wants to build a house, he wants to buy a washing machine, he wants to buy fairy liquid, it's up to him, actually. ZAKAAH is his money. Okay? You didn't give him the authority to say to him, this is your money, you want me to build a house, that's something else. You're building a house to him without him knowing, without his choice. That's not money, it's his money. So I tell him, please don't collect ZAKAAH. You're going to incur sin upon you. So any person who will do something before he does it, he should learn it. Not just go after the, can I, is it halal to do or haram to do? Halal. And then if he finds it not allowed, he will go to another sheikh. It's like being illegal, you understand me? And he will start like this and like this. No, he's not giving me what I want. You go to another sheikh. That's it. The person like this should sit down. I'm not in a hurry, You're not going to be in a hurry when you collect ZAKAAH. Not in a hurry. But to learn knowledge, you're in a hurry. You understand me? They have to sit and learn. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.